Hello from the Connection Audit. We're your hosts, Kirsten and Blake. Today we're asking a question that will resonate with anyone who has ever opened a dating app, stared at the screen, and thought, why does this feel so flat, so tiring, or so lifeless? Are dating apps actually dead? Or do they just feel dead because so much of modern dating has become high volume, low trust, low context, and too much hard work for too little real connection? Because that feeling matters.
If we misread the problem, we usually reach for the wrong fix. We ask for more matches when the issue is quality. We ask for more messages when the issue is trust.
Apps add more features when what people actually need is clarity, safety, and consequence. So what we wanted to explore today is a simple but important idea. Maybe dating apps do not feel dead because people have stopped wanting connection.
Maybe they feel dead because the systems people are using have become too transactional, too performative, and too full of emotional admin. Because a platform can be busy and still feel emotionally cold. It can have millions of users and still leave people feeling unseen, overwhelmed, suspicious, burnt out, or like they are processing a deck of cards rather than meeting real human beings.
This is especially relevant for people exploring modern dating, E&M, swinging, polyamory, or any relational space where trust, boundaries, pace, and emotional intelligence matter. Because when connection is flattened into profiles, swipes, and noise, people are left carrying too much of the labor the platform should have absorbed. But this is not about mocking people for using apps or pretending technology is the problem on its own. Absolutely not.
The question is whether the way these systems are built is pushing people into worse behavior, thinner interactions, and less grounded forms of connection. So this episode is really an audit of the dead feeling itself, what people mean when they say it, what is actually causing it, and what becomes possible when we stop chasing more activity and start building for more trust. Because better connection does not usually come from faster swiping or louder performance.
It tends to come from more context, more accountability, more honesty, and safer ways of relating. So let's get into it. Why do dating apps feel dead? And what would it take to make connection feel alive again?
This is the Connection Audit.
Let's start where we always begin, by auditing the culture. So if you are listening to this right now and you have ever felt a really profound sense of emptiness after, spending 30 minutes just swiping through profiles on your phone, you need to know that you are not broken.
Totally not.
In fact, if you are feeling that way, you have to know it's actually your brain kind of short-circuiting. The longer you swipe, the more your brain, it actually forces you to hate the people you are looking at.
Yeah, 100%. It's incredibly easy to assume that digital dating is just a ghost town now, right? Like nobody is out there.
Right.
But, the numbers tell a very different story.
They really do.
Yeah.
If we look at the recent Ofcom data from May 2024, it shows that 4.9 million UK adults are still using these services.
Right, yeah.
Reaching 18% of 18 to 24-year-olds. So the system clearly has massive, undeniable traffic. The issue you are feeling is not a lack of volume.
No, absolutely not. What we're seeing is, the pattern is a profound loss of vitality.
Vitality, I love that word for it. It's the energy of an interaction, the blood pumping through it.
Right.
So if the traffic is there, but the energy is completely drained, we have to ask what is actually crushing it.
The reality is that it's a massive evolutionary mismatch. It's this phenomenon known in psychology as choice overload.
Oh, right.
Because, the human brain evolved to live in relatively small communities. You might evaluate, say, a few dozen potential partners over an entire lifetime.
Right, over your whole life.
Yeah. So when you're suddenly presented with, thousands of faces on a random Tuesday evening, your brain simply cannot process that volume effectively. It panics and it shuts down.
Which makes complete sense. We weren't built to process an endless queue of humanity.
We really weren't.
And this leads directly to a fascinating but kind of sad mechanism called the rejection mindset. There's psychological research that mapped this out beautifully.
Yes, I know the one.
They found that as you are exposed to more and more options, you actually become increasingly prone to rejecting people. The likelihood of you accepting a match drops by 27% from the first profile you view to the last one.
That's the pattern, right?
Yeah.
It's entirely a defensive strategy. When you're faced with an endless pool of faces, your brain it needs to conserve cognitive energy. So instead of looking for complex reasons to connect, your brain takes a shortcut.
Oh.
It just starts hunting for quick reasons to say no. To protect yourself from disappointment and overwhelm, you adopt this hypercritical lens. You just magnify small flaws.
So you basically stop looking for a partner and you just become a critic.
100%.
Which is why I want to push back hard against that really common, culturally accepted dating advice we always hear.
Oh, the just cast a wider net thing?
Yeah. Or from well-meaning friends saying, oh, it's just a numbers game.
Right.
It is not a numbers game. It's like, imagine walking into a massive, chaotic buffet.
Right.
You're starving, right? But the sheer volume of choices combined with the noise, the bright lights, and everyone elbowing each other, it just completely paralyzes you.
Yeah, you just freeze up.
Absolutely. You leave exhausted and empty-handed. The volume is actually the problem, not the solution.
Spot on. The buffet analogy is just spot on here because what we're seeing is that sheer abundance actually creates starvation.
Yeah.
And we need to approach this next part with immense compassion.
Yeah.
Because this culture impacts people very differently. There's a distinct gender asymmetry in how this exhaustion plays out.
Oh, for sure.
And neither side is to blame. The system just actively pits them against each other.
Let's break that down. Because for women, the burden often manifests as what is termed sense-making labor.
Right, the decoding.
Yeah, it's the exhaustion of playing detective before you even say hello. It's the difference between, like, seeing a guy holding a fish in his photo and just moving on versus having to spend 10 minutes wondering about it.
Oh, the classic fish photo.
Right. You wonder, is he a hyper-masculine traditionalist? Is he sending a subtle political signal? Or, did he just go on a boat once and liked his hair that day?
Absolutely. Women are frequently placed in a position of constant vigilance.
It's exhausting.
It really is. They're doing the heavy lifting of screening for safety, trying to decode highly ambiguous intentions, and constantly dodging unwanted or aggressive contact.
Yeah, that's a massive cognitive load.
So by the time a woman has sorted her inbox and assessed the risk, the experience already feels like a demanding, unpaid job.
And for men, the pain points are different, but they're equally exhausting.
The reality for many men is just a wall of silence and ambiguity.
Yeah.
They send out messages and receive zero feedback, which obviously breeds a deep sense of insecurity.
Right.
And unfortunately, a very common adaptation to that silence is the spray and pray approach to messaging. Men start sending out mass, low-effort messages just hoping something, anything, will stick. It's a desperate adaptation, not malice.
Which, of course, just creates more sense-making labor for the women receiving those mass messages. It's a vicious cycle.
100%.
And this is so vital to understand for anyone exploring, E&M or polyamory or any relational space built on high emotional intelligence. In those communities, trust and clear communication are the absolute bedrock.
They have to be.
So when you force those nuanced connections into a high-volume, low-context machine, the noise becomes incredibly damaging.
Because when you realize the culture is literally designed to burn you out, you stop feeling broken and you start getting defensive.
Yeah, you put up walls.
And that defensiveness is completely changing how we behave today.
That leads us perfectly to the second part of our framework. We've audited the culture, now we must audit the behavior. Because human beings are adaptable.
We really are.
When the environment is chaotic, we lean heavily into digital performance. The experience becomes what people call the adminification of connection.
Yes, adminification. Users describe it as processing a deck of cards or moving data from column A to column B.
Right, clerical work instead of romance.
Well, absolutely. Men feel pressured to create louder, gamified profiles to cut through the noise, while women build thicker defensive boundaries just to feel secure.
But the positive news here is that people are actively trying to correct this. We're seeing a real, measurable shift in behavior to survive the burnout.
Yeah, the data supports that.
If we look at Bumble's 2025 global dating trends, people are craving something different. Let's talk about the trend of micromance.
Oh, I find this shift incredibly encouraging.
Yeah, it shows 86% of singles are actively ditching grand performative gestures for smaller, low-pressure signals of affection. Sharing memes, sending a carefully curated playlist, or building inside jokes.
It's brilliant.
I mean, I get micromance conceptually, but I have to challenge this slightly.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that not just an excuse for low effort? If someone just sends me a meme, how is that better than them taking the time to plan a proper, thoughtful date?
It's a great question, but it's not about lowering effort. It's about lowering the cognitive load.
Oh, okay.
A grand gesture requires massive emotional investment and risk from both sides. In a low-trust environment, a grand gesture can actually feel threatening or overly intense.
That makes a lot of sense.
A meme, on the other hand, is a safe bid for connection. It says, I see your sense of humor, and I am thinking of you, without demanding a massive performance in return. It builds trust incrementally.
Right, it takes the pressure off the nervous system.
Spot on. And speaking of the nervous system, that ties directly into another major trend: future-proofing.
Ah, yes.
59% of women are actively shifting their behavior to prioritize emotional consistency and stability over pure excitement.
Which is a profound shift in how we evaluate partners. For a long time, the cultural narrative has been about chasing the spark, that roller coaster of butterflies.
But biologically, those butterflies are often just your nervous system detecting unpredictability and anxiety.
So true.
Future-proofing is about seeking a steady train rather than a roller coaster. It's looking for someone whose nervous system feels safe, reliable, and grounded to be around.
And because finding that safe, grounded person is so difficult in a low-context environment, we're seeing another fascinating behavioral adaptation: outsourcing the labor.
The guys that get it.
Yes. 54% of women are now relying on their male friends to help filter and interpret dating behaviors.
This is a brilliant survival tactic.
Yeah.
When the environment is too chaotic to read clearly, you lean on your real-world trust networks to navigate it.
Yeah.
These male friends act as a translator for the digital armor. They can spot the subtle red flags or performative gamification in another man's profile that a woman, who is already experiencing choice overload, might understandably miss.
They act as a translator. I love that.
Yeah.
Because the digital space lacks context, it breeds huge misunderstandings.
100%.
We see this with the rise of male casting. Pop culture loves to create these neat little boxes: the finance bro, the rodent man, the golden retriever boyfriend.
Right, and 27% of men report that these tropes create deeply false assumptions about their true character and intentions.
When you only have 3 photos and a witty prompt, it's incredibly easy for someone to project an entire cultural stereotype onto you.
It flattens a complex, breathing human being into a two-dimensional trope.
It really does. And it makes me wonder, are we losing the ability to actually relate to one another because we're too busy performing for the algorithm?
That's the pattern, right?
It feels like we're showing up to a cozy, intimate coffee date wearing full medieval armor. It protects us from getting hurt, sure, but it makes it absolutely impossible to feel a genuine human touch.
Spot on. The armor is a perfectly rational response to a chaotic, low-trust environment. But the tragic irony is that it actively prevents the very connection you're so desperate to find.
So we've audited the chaotic culture and we've audited our defensive behaviors. The only logical next step is to audit the solution.
Right.
If the system is broken, how do we consciously build trust infrastructure into our own lives to make connection feel alive again?
The paradigm shift here is crucial. The fix isn't chasing the symptoms. The fix is not downloading 3 more apps, swiping faster, or buying premium features to boost your visibility.
Oh.
The fix is consciously building high context and focusing on trust infrastructure.
Let's break down what context before chemistry actually looks like for you, the listener, in practice.
Good idea.
It means presenting yourself clearly from the very first moment, signaling your intent, your boundaries, and your preferred pace before physical attraction is forced to do all the heavy lifting.
Because when you provide context, you immediately reduce the other person's anxiety. And there are very practical micro skills you can employ today to do this.
Okay, like what?
The first is to aggressively limit your exposure. If you want to defeat that rejection mindset we discussed earlier, you have to stop the endless scroll.
Right.
Treat your attention as a finite, precious resource. Look at a small, set number of profiles, and then physically close the application. Protect your empathy.
Protect your empathy. That is such a powerful reframe. And the second micro skill applies directly to the first message you send.
Yes, the golden rule for the first message is that it should lower the emotional labor for the receiver, not add to it.
Oh, absolutely.
A message that just says, "Hey," or "How was your weekend?" forces the other person to do all the work of inventing a conversation out of thin air.
It's the worst.
A high-context message is respectful, specific, and references something real in their profile. It says, "I've read what you wrote, I'm genuinely interested in this specific detail, and here is a safe, easy way to respond."
And then, of course, we have to talk about the absolute hardest part of digital connection: the silence.
Handling silence is perhaps the most vital emotional skill in modern dating. We have to teach ourselves the emotional steadiness to tolerate a no reply without spiraling into self-doubt.
Yeah, that's so hard to do.
It is, but a non-response is not necessarily a reflection of your worth, your attractiveness, or your value. It's often just a reflection of their choice overload and their overwhelm. Tolerating that ambiguity without escalating into resentment or mass messaging volume tactics is a superpower.
It's about remaining grounded in your own value, regardless of the platform's noise. And the final micro skill is focusing on connection over perfection.
Yes, 100%.
We have to let go of the flawless, curated aesthetic. Lean heavily into the things you genuinely care about. The data shows this works brilliantly. 49% of Gen Z singles agree that geeking out on a niche subject together is a profound form of intimacy.
Shared enthusiasm is a brilliant, high-context filter. It bypasses the performative small talk and instantly creates an environment where you can both be authentic.
Totally.
If you love obscure board games or medieval history or foraging for mushrooms, put that front and center. It will repel the wrong people and act as a beacon for the right ones.
And this brings me to a gentle challenge for all of us. I think we need to respectfully challenge the cultural myth that dating should be frictionless and easy.
Oh, absolutely.
We've been sold this lie by tech companies that if we just use their product, finding love will be as seamless as ordering a takeaway. We've been taught to hate friction.
Right.
But healthy friction is not a roadblock, it's a filter. It's the difference between having a sturdy front door on your house versus a bead curtain. The door takes a second to unlock, and it requires effort to open, but it keeps the chaos out and makes the inside feel genuinely safe.
100%. The reality is that a secure environment requires boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Friction, when it's consciously designed to protect your energy and your standards, is a profound act of care toward yourself and your future partner.
Today we've covered a lot of ground, so let's wrap up this audit with a compassionate summary. If you're feeling burnt out, if you're staring at your phone feeling completely disconnected and exhausted, please remember this. You are having a normal reaction to an abnormal environment. The system is just incredibly noisy.
You are navigating a space designed for engagement, not necessarily for human connection.
So here are your 3 core takeaways to help you navigate it better. Number 1, recognize the rejection mindset. Limit your scrolling to protect your empathy and, stop your brain from forcing you to become overly critical.
Yeah, and number 2, look for high context and micromance. Don't exhaust yourself with performative grand gestures or expecting them from others. Build connection through small, consistent, authentic signals that lower the cognitive load for both of you.
And number 3, embrace healthy friction. Communicate your boundaries, your intent, and your pace early. Stop trying to be the cool, frictionless person who has no needs. Clear context is the absolute foundation of trust.
And I will leave you with one final provocative thought to take with you. We spend so much time and energy trying to optimize our dating lives, trying to be faster, more efficient, and cast a wider net. But what if your next great connection comes not from speeding up and swiping more, but from slowing your pace down so much that someone finally has the space to be real with you?
Thanks for listening. We hope we've helped us uncover a deeper understanding around connecting with other people and give you the courage to be honest with yourself, your partner, and those people you connect with.
Our only ask is, if you know one person you feel would benefit from listening to our conversation, please point them in our direction. Let's start a conversation about how we can build better connections.
And if you have any questions, a theme, or a topic you'd like us to cover, please give us a like, leave a comment, and we'll get it scheduled into the running order.
Be kind to yourself.
Until next time, less scrolling, more soul.